Have you ever looked at your life and thought, everything looks good, but it's just one endless juggle after another. I never get to truly be myself. One day, my son looked at me and said, "Mommy, you don't laugh anymore." Those 5 words, honestly, they broke something in me. Not because I didn't love my life or because I wasn't grateful for what I built, but because I realized something been avoiding for a really long time. What if the pressure you're feeling isn't a sign something is wrong, but a signal that something in you is waking up? What if you're not falling apart? You're on the verge of a spiritual awakening. Remember what I told you, what my son said? "Mommy, you don't laugh anymore." That moment, like I said before, it broke something open in me. I started asking myself, what happened to me? How did I get here? Am I even living the life that I want? Or am I just checking boxes? And then I went on a spiral of uncomfortable questions. Like, what if I go after what I actually want and end up not being able to provide for my family like I am right now? Could I handle that? Do I even want to put myself through that? Then I started getting a little emotional and asking myself, when was the last time I felt real joy? Not just like when you're distracted by a Netflix movie or scrolling through your phone, but genuinely light and joyous. If you're feeling confused and stuck right now, if you're dealing with emotional burnout, or the people closest to you are starting to notice, if lately you've been asking yourself why everything feels so damn hard, I need you to hear this. You might not be struggling because life requires it. You might be struggling because somewhere along the way you started believing it has to be this hard. Think about it. Do you remember being told as a kid that if you wanted to make it in life, you'd have to work hard? That life is supposed to involve pain and struggle, that you'd have to earn love and acceptance. Maybe you've heard things like struggle builds character, or nothing worth having comes easy. And if you're a Generation X woman like me, you didn't just hear that message, you absorbed it. It became the operating system that you were running on your entire life. But here, what if that's actually not true? Think about a river. When it encounters a boulder, does it stop and struggle and push against the rock until it's exhausted? No, it simply flows around it, finding the path of least resistance. The river keeps moving forward, not through struggle, but through persistence, through gentle movements. There's a profound difference between effort and struggle. Effort is natural. It's energy in motion. Struggle is effort laced in desperation, with the belief that nothing comes easily, with the fear that if you're not suffering, you're not doing it right. And this belief, it doesn't just affect us, it affects people closest to us. I noticed that my son started tiptoeing around me, censoring himself, like he was afraid to be fully himself in case it upset me. And that's when I realized my stress, my constant struggle wasn't just stealing my joy, it was teaching him to shrink. That's when I knew something had to change. For many of us midlife women, what we're experiencing isn't just burnout, it's a soul search. This is what spiritual awakening actually looks like. Not some blissful top experience, but the moment when we realize I've been swimming upstream my entire life and I don't even remember why I'm fighting the current. So here's what I want you to understand about what's really happening beneath the surface. You spent years, sometimes decades, building a belief system that says if it's not hard, it's not real. And when life offers you ease, you reject it, not consciously, but through the subtle ways you sabotage what's working. create problems where there are none, or simply cannot allow yourself to receive what's being offered. But what if you could shift this? What if choosing ease, even if it means less money, less status, less of what you've been chasing, was actually the path forward? Okay, so maybe you're with me so far. You've realized that struggle isn't a requirement, it's a belief. But now you're probably wondering, what do I do with that? How do I actually shift this? Well, let me tell you what this transformation is not. It's not grinding harder. It's not another productivity or some new hustle strategy promising that you can do it all. It's a complete identity shift, a spiritual reinvention where you're finally giving yourself permission to stop proving your worth through suffering. Now, this is your shadow work. And if you don't have the right tools, it could be devastating. So I want to give you something that could help you reset your nervous system as you're going through this shift. It's called the butterfly hug. And here's what I mean when I say devastating. You've got all these thoughts swirling around, right? Thoughts about what it would mean to actually pivot, to honor what your soul is calling you towards. And just thinking about all that, thinking about that shift could bring anxiety, sometimes overwhelming anxiety. The butterfly hug, I was going to say effect, helps you calm the storm so you can actually think clearly. So you can look at your life from a place of peace instead of panic, with your nervous system settled. Here's how to do this. You're going to cross your arms like this. You're going to put it on your shoulders and you're going to alternate from left to right, right to left, like a soft flutter of a butterfly's wing. This back and forth movement, it calms your nervous system. It brings you back to your body. This is burnout recovery that actually addresses the root cause, not just slaps a bandage, like me telling you, go take a bubble bath and call it self-care. So let me tell you what happened after my son said, I didn't laugh anymore. I started making different choices. And I want to be really honest with you about what it looked like. Because, well, to me, it wasn't pretty. I looked at my relationships, like really looked at them. And I asked myself, is this draining me or energizing me? And I had to let go of friendships that had become obligations. You know, the ones where you're constantly giving more than you're receiving. The ones where your interactions feel more empty or even they're draining. I also started setting real boundaries at work. And I didn't just talk about it. I actually enforced them. And yeah, people noticed. And some of these people didn't like what I was doing. And then I did something that terrified me. I reevaluated my ambitions. Things I had been working towards for years, goals I thought I had to achieve. I asked myself one simple question. If I actually accomplish this, will I be happier or will it not even matter? Here's what I discovered. Half of the things I was grinding myself into the ground for, they wouldn't have mattered. I was suffering for goals I didn't even want anymore just because I had already invested so much. The moment I gave myself permission to let go, that's when I started to laugh again. I'm not telling you this because my way should be your way of doing things. I'm telling you this because I want you to see what's possible when you stop asking permission to live your life. What if the most revolutionary thing you could do right now is to ask yourself, if no one was watching and no one cared what I did, what would I choose? What if ease isn't laziness, but alignment?